Hi, this is Jeff Blowett, Technical Agronomist with Cooperative Farmers Elevator, and on this week's Field Friday segment, I thought we'd talk about, we've got this research program or Innovate trial system where we're testing a lot of agronomics and testing and evaluating a lot of new things, new concepts, new products. One of the things that's been talked about is some of these longer residual new fungicides. Not only do they have more modes of action for resistance management, but they also claim to have a lot longer residual life. 45 to 60 days are some of the claims, so we thought we'd evaluate that. The last couple years we've been testing some of this fungicide applications at V12. This corn you're looking at here is about V10. V12 we're starting to get up towards shoulder high. One of the intriguing parts of that is if you have your own self-propelled sprayer, you can probably get your booms high enough to do that without an airplane and apply your own fungicide potentially. I think it plays better in higher yielding corn, but right now this corn is V10. We've got 10 collars, but actually the leaves that are here, we've got 14 leaves that are actually exposed here, so we're getting actual fungicides on probably 3 or 4 more leaves than our collars actually show. So at V12 we might have V15 or the 15th or 16th leaf showing up in the world that we're getting some fungicide on. So we're protecting, the ear leaf is probably somewhere between 12 and 14th collar, depending on environment and genetics. But so we're getting some protection around that middle part of the plant. And we've got 2 years worth of data now. One of the fungicides we've got a couple years of data with is mirabis Neo. I think we could probably say Delaro Complete and Veltima are probably very similar potentially, and we're evaluating all 3 of those this year to compare. But we've got a couple years worth of data that says we've gotten over 13 bushel response. I bring that up because of the economy right now with commodities being $6 for a bushel of corn potentially. It doesn't take a lot to pay for an application. I will say, however, I still would prefer a tassel time fungicide application. That's still the best time for application wise, but then you involve a plane and some more cost, and some people are not interested in that. We haven't really evaluated a lot of double application, doing it at V12 and at tassel time. We did have a trial set up with the intention of testing that last year, but we had some rootworm feeding and it went down. We had some lodged tangled corn, so we scrapped the trial. So we tried, but we'll have to evaluate that again. But so it is an interesting marketing strategy, but it actually has shown some yield response that actually has been profitable. So I guess it's not for every acre. I would say it's targeted towards your highest yielding acres. We had over 15 bushel response last year in our trial. We had a trial by Rock Valley, but the plot average was over 280. So it was really a high yielding plot, but just kind of something to think about as a management strategy with these higher commodity prices. It doesn't take as many bushels to pay for things, so there's some things to evaluate. I think it'd be another thing to consider also if you're going to apply anything at that stage of the game. Those foliar micronutrients are probably quite valuable. If you think about what these corn plants at that stage are all doing, they're developing a tassel and an ear, all that inside the internal part of that plant. There's a lot going on in that plant. The nutrient needs are very high, so a little bit of a boost there could probably give us a few bushels. Especially if we'd ever get rain and get the high yield potential we have set up, and that's potentially coming. We've got some rain in the forecast here, maybe over the weekend, but just something I thought I'd touch on. It's something we've tested, and we've got very preliminary, a couple years worth of data that looks pretty promising on it in our replicated trials. So something to think about if you have the ability, or we can do it as well. So just thought I'd touch on something new, see what your interest level is, and if it is something that's of interest to you, contact your Cooperative Farmers Elevator agronomist and we'll help you through it. That's this week's Field Friday segment, and we'll see you next week.